Now, the federal government has summoned the Indonesian ambassador to Nigeria, UsraHarahap, over the alleged assault on a Nigerian diplomatic agent in Jakarta, Indonesia. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyeama said the incident is against international law and the Vienna Conventions governing diplomatic and consular relations between states. The Nigerian government is also demanding sanctions against the immigration officers that assaulted the envoy. Muya Thomas reports.
This viral video surfaced on social media some days ago.
Thank you very much.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyeama says the incident happened last Saturday in Jakarta, Indonesia.
No, I can breathe. No, I can breathe.
The very unfortunate incident occurred when Indonesian immigration officers on a regular street raid for irregular migrants requested for identification from the envoy, which he did not carry along. The minister expressed the displeasure of the government of Nigeria over the matter. The action indeed clearly contravenes Article 29 of the 1961 Vienna Convention, which states, "The person of a diplomatic agent shall be inviolable. He shall not be liable to any form of arrest or detention. The receiving state shall treat him with due respect and shall take all appropriate steps to prevent any attack on his person, freedom, or dignity." Further consultation are also being explored to ensure justice is served, as the Nigerian ambassador to Indonesia is expected in Nigeria for this. In his statement, the minister says the Indonesian ambassador to Nigeria was summoned. His explanation of the incidents was the same as recounted by the assaulted envoy.
Well, now we have in the studio to discuss this Obani in-house analyst, Obani Akinwale, in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
And also joining us via Skype, strategy consultant Dikbo Oyewole. He joins us via Zoom. Dikbo, good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Morning.
Now, you saw that video coming out of Indonesia, the treatment of Nigeria's envoy. And although there has been an apology, some are saying that the government should go ahead and sever ties. Is this the way to go for the government?
Well, I wouldn't say they do that immediately, but I think that, like the Minister of Foreign Affairs said, we need to review our relationship with Indonesia, because for me that video was quite traumatic and it was quite unacceptable. And it also confirms various reports we've been hearing out of Indonesia in the last couple of years as to how Nigerians have been treated. So the case is quite simple. You approach a gentleman, he says that he's a diplomat, he doesn't have any identification on him to corroborate that. Would it have been too much to call the embassy to confirm his identity? That's one. Two, another thing we heard from the incident was the reason why he was manhandled was because he was resisting arrest, and then they had to restrain him forcefully. He was struggling because he thought that he was being kidnapped. Now the question is, the immigration officers, did they identify themselves as immigration officers when they accosted him? Because I believe that if they had done that, he would not have had any fear for his life, thinking that he was going to be, or that he was being abducted. And luckily for us, we have a video to show this. Somehow, if there wasn't a video, probably there would have been a lot of denials. And I also find it very offensive from the Indonesian side that it was until the Nigerian government had to summon the ambassador on Sunday before they thought it fit to come to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and to give a report on this. If they truly, truly value the relationship with Nigeria, I would have expected that the ambassador to Nigeria would have himself volunteered to have a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, or did they think that we wouldn't have heard of it? Because for me, this is quite unacceptable. And yes, there should be consequences for the immigration officers, and we should also look at reviewing our relationship with Indonesia. I also believe that the Nigerian government needs to file a formal letter of complaints with the United Nations, because this is quite unacceptable. And I also believe that it's also time for us to look at a larger conversation as to how Nigerians are being treated within the borders of Indonesia and other nations, because this, for me, is quite unacceptable.
All right, let's come back to the studio now. If we are talking about reviewing our relationship with Indonesia and we come to the table, can we negotiate from a point of strength as it is?
You know, for those of us that grew up in the village, we always like starting with our balance. My grandfather would tell me that first let us chase away the fox before we deal with the chicken or the chick, as the case may be. Let's first deal with Indonesia. First, the question is, as Nigerians, either on social media, either on a socio-economic level, how do we portray ourselves as citizens? If you check what is going to go online now, you will see Nigerians in the name of freedom of press, freedom of information, trying to castigate that every Nigerian is a criminal, every Nigerian is a robber, Nigeria don't live. You see the way we paint our country. We Nigerians
painting our country,
yes,
in a bad light.
And the way you lay your bed is where you are going to lie on it.
Right.
So let's start from that angle first. We as Nigerians, how have we portrayed ourselves to the global world out there? That is one. Two, Nigerians outside Nigerians, have we been civil in our conduct, in our behavior?
Haven't we?
Have we been? Let's ask ourselves.
I'm asking you, haven't we?
I'm not too sure. The third one is now to ask, whatever Nigerians are, or wherever Nigerians are being treated, is a reflection of our society. I won't take the far away that Mrs. Abike Dabiri is doing a great job at NITCOM. But if you have looked at what has happened in the time past and to present, you discover that Nigeria is what we call a horse in a paper. You know, those artistic horse you have in a paper that it is always there, it cannot run. We find out that a country close to us here, Ghana, went to our embassy to destroy our embassy to say that we did not pay for the land, we did not do anything. Nothing was done. You remember that UAE recently told us that if we do not marry our visa policy with their own policy, they will not allow Emirates Airlines to fly from Nigeria. Nothing was done. You remember that South Africa, xenophobia, Nigerians were treated like dogs and what have you. So the rhetorics of us saying that we are going to continually review our foreign policy with this country, with that country. The question now is this: do we have a foreign policy that subjects Nigerians to inhumane treatment? Let's even assume that the man there is not a diplomat. In right senses of any immigration officer, are they supposed to strangulate any Nigerian outside this shore? Assuming that man is an American citizen or a British citizen or even a Chinese, will they be able to do this to him? Now, and I've tried to look at record and say, what is even the relationship between Nigeria and Indonesia? I discovered that in 2019, Nigeria has a foreign export to Indonesia of about $700 million. And we have an import of $300 million, which shows clearly that all our raw resources is what we give to Indonesia. So they know physically that these people, what they can only export out is unrefined products. They are unrefined. And our government policies, government keep coming every day and keep telling us, it's not about this man. It's about how an average Nigeria is treated outside the shore of this country. It's how Nigeria is treated in a neighboring country like Togo, like Benin Republic, not to talk of how being treated in Indonesia. I look at Indonesia, how much is one Indonesia currency IDR to Naira? It's about 0.002 to about 1 million currency of theirs to about 28,000 Naira. So you could now imagine that, do we have foreign policy at all? Why do we need to speak English? Will American government or British government start speaking English in this kind of situation? And is Indonesia today, tomorrow, you will see one country, Western Sahara or Satomi and Principe, that we are feeling will come and bite us. So it is high time government stop talking. There is only, for example, look at what happened between China and US. Yes. Immediately US said, well, this person should not do business with them. And Russia, you send my diplomat back to me, I send it back to you. Yeah. There is nothing to tell us to send the diplomat back to Indonesia as at that day, that go back to your country. This is not ideal. Let your president come and address us. This is a diplomat, for Christ's sake. And we are now saying the man has come to apologize. Another person will do it and will see the same rhetoric. It's happening every day. They are cleaning Nigeria every day in Indonesia, and government is not doing anything. We are speaking English and we are talking about review. Let us act for once. I don't expect anything less than send the diplomat back to their country. Let him go back there and go and do what is right. If a Nigerian is being treated like this as a diplomat, how much more an ordinary Nigerian on the street of Indonesia? What is the law of immigration in Indonesia is? Is it that anybody that doesn't have identification, you strangle them to death? Who is recording that visual?
Right.
Who was recording it? And how did the visual get online? So it shows clearly that this thing was done without recourse to human rights, without recourse to respect of the person. Look at the age of the man. Look at his face. And look at what happened to Judge Florida. It shows that every dark skin color person is not respected globally. And you now tell us we go to United Nations to go and do what? Who has United Nations helped? What have they done to help us? Right. It's that time we take our destiny in our hand and they send this man back to his country and go and do what is right. And their president apologized. South African president, when he knew what is going to happen to them during the xenophobia, they ran down here. When we saw that Ghana is closing us down, our businesses down in Ghana, the speaker went to go and meet them in Ghana. So why will our diplomat be assaulted and the man will still be summoned by a minister before he could say they are apologizing? Apologizing for what? If that man have died, would they apologize for his death? Will his family not be licking the wound? It is high time we stop speaking English. We need to act, and it is time to act now. Otherwise, it is a diplomat now. Very soon, one immigration officer will attack President Buhari at the Heathrow airport. And we all say, this is Twitter saga again. President Buhari is too aggressive.
All right, let's take the conversation back to Dikbo. Dikbo, there are those, like Ni has said now, that also think that this is coming out of the way we treat ourselves, how we handle our businesses across countries where Nigerians are. And there has been also a situation where, as much as there are those who are seen as the bad eggs, there are those who have done very honorable things that have brought Nigeria to limelight. We cannot deny that. But then, do you draw a correlation from the statement of our image is also making countries like Indonesia treat us just like this?
Yes, I would prioritize the kind of image we have on the outside of shores of this country as opposed to how Nigerians behave outside. This is why I say that. Yes, it is quite clear that if you're a dark-skinned person, you are very respected anywhere in the world, which is quite unfortunate. And I have said it here on this platform, time without number, that for some reason Nigeria is to be blamed for that, but we don't have time for that conversation right now. But yes, our image being portrayed out there is quite appalling. And I believe that this is one of those times that we can always set the record straight and we can always get things done to correct that anomaly, because there has to be a deterrent and it has to be stopped. Yes, Obani was very correct, and was the next point I was going to make, that the ambassador to Nigeria needs to be sent back home. The moment our Nigerian ambassador to Indonesia hits the Nigerian shores, the Indonesian ambassador needs to go back home with at least 6 key members of the diplomatic corps. It is very important that we send this clear message, because for me, this is just unacceptable. You cannot traumatize a man of any age, and especially an elderly man like this, and then you tell me that the immigration officers have apologized and they will move on from it. That's not possible. The statistics he read was very correct, that our trade with them is close to $1 billion annually. Can we look at reviewing that in our negotiations if we're looking at having conversations with them or cutting ties with them entirely? Because either you like it or not, Nigeria is the second largest trade partner with Indonesia. So for me, that tells me that is it that they don't value the economic relationship they have with Nigeria, or what is the problem exactly? So yes, we'll go back to our image. And what is it about the Nigerian person that people feel that they can harass us anywhere in the world? Which for me is quite offensive. And yes, for us looking at our image out there, we also have to look at our image in here. Is the average Nigerian respected in-house? Is the average Nigerian treated with dignity and integrity within our own borders? Those are things that we need to look at. But regarding this issue with Indonesia, I believe that we need to take a closer look at continuing our relationship with them. They need us. We don't necessarily need them. The numbers show it, especially economically. Okay, they need us. They need us a lot more than we need them. We're the second largest trade partner. The numbers aren't the other way around that way. So we need to look at it. And I believe that as soon as the Nigerian ambassador to Indonesia, I will say it again, hits the Nigerian shores, the ambassador needs to be returned back to their country. Then we then start to have the conversation of reviewing the relationship, if we want to continue to have any form of relationship with them whatsoever. But I believe that the time has come now. The Nigerian government have a clear opportunity now to send a strong message to the international community that no Nigerian abroad, either a diplomat or just a regular citizen abroad, is allowed to be harassed. You do not harass an American citizen that way. You do not harass a British citizen that way. If you are accosted an American on the streets and then you ask for their papers and they told you they didn't have it, the right thing you would do is to call the embassy to confirm their identity, not smuggle them into a car and then start assaulting them. I don't think a lot of people saw it where after his neck was being pressed, some gentleman had his foot on his genitals. For what reason? Enough is enough. Right. The federal government of Nigeria, they need to really put their foot down. We haven't seen a lot of aggression from their side, which for me is quite unfortunate. I don't know what is going on with that.
And that is where I am going.
Like Obani is stated.
Yes.
But I believe that this issue needs to be addressed aggressively.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going, Dikpo, if you can hear me.
Any part of the world.
Dikpo, can you hear me? Right, that is where I am going in terms of government putting its foot down. We saw what happened in South Africa, and a lot of persons said that this is an opportunity for government to make a statement. But yes, it seemed a lot of Nigerians were disappointed with the outcome. And we also saw what happened with the Ghana situation, and a lot of persons also felt that the government would make a statement, being a big brother, as it is often been said. And now we find ourselves in another situation. How confident are we that this time around we will make that statement that will make the world understand that indeed Nigerians shouldn't be treated the way they are being treated?
Well, we can only hope, and we can only keep having these conversations. Another time that I recall that the Nigerian government didn't show a lot of spine was, I believe that was 2020. When the virus hit, and then it hadn't really gotten into Africa, and then there were conversations about the US ban and all of that.
Quickly,
all the other nations that were on that list with Nigeria made very sternly worded statements.
All right.
Our own government just went with, oh, okay, we received the letter, all right, we'll form a committee, and then we'll see how...
We need to bring the conversation.
Yeah.
All right.
Because you would have expected Nigeria to be a very serious partner with the United States, as it's been touted.
All right, you have to hold the thoughts because we need to quickly wrap up, and we need Nia's final word on this. Are you confident we'll make that statement that needs to be heard at this point?
You made a comment earlier when you were asking the last question. You said, are we Big Brother or something? Even in Big Brother, there are rules. There is rule book and there is sanction. Yeah. Nigeria, we should stop using that word that we are Big Brother. We are Mumu brother.
We have to be careful with choice.
No, why I say Mumu is that it's only a Mumu brother that they will treat your citizen. See, this is a diplomat. A diplomat represents the interest of the president. He has a letter, he's serving the ambassador who is the representative of the country in that place, and he's being strangled. And yet we said we are Big Brother. Even in Big Brother, there are rules. And when there are rules, there are sanctions. So if somebody strangulates your official,
so
like
the question is, are you confident that we will make that statement for people to know and Indonesia to understand?
The only statement we always make is against Nigeria staying in Nigeria. We have never acted in the interest of Nigerians in diaspora, except when Abike Dabiri goes out there to go and help people. But as a country, we have not gone any extra mile to show the outward that we have balls. And it's high time we begin to tell them out there. When Ghana started blackmailing us that we close the border, blackmailing us, we close the border, didn't we open it back? We are not Big Brother, we are Mumu brother. And it's high time we begin to implement those rules and ensure that the outside world respects us as a sovereign nation. And nobody will tamper with Nigerian integrity. And we should also treat Nigerians locally with dignity. If we don't do that, we'll continue to get this the kind of treatment that people are getting globally.
And that's a fine place to leave the conversation this morning. In-house analyst Obani Akinwale, thank you for joining us. Dikpo Oyewale, a strategy consultant, thank you as well.
Thank you for having me.